Greetings, family. So, I'm here today to talk about a few scenarios that you all should be aware of when you are out in the community. Okay, so the first one has to do with shopping, second one has to do with shopping, and the third may have to do with shopping. First scenario, you go into a fabric shop, you pick out the fabrics you want, and you notice that everything you pick up, another customer in the store is touching and telling the clerk to get what you have. So now you watch the scenario, you start to get a little annoyed because you're realizing that this person has been in the store probably long before you got there, but yet they're so very interested in everything that you're picking up. So, me being me, you know, I don't like copycats. I'm like, you should hire me to be your designer since you seem to like everything that I like. And the person gives you some little, really? I'm like, yeah, really. But I should have known it was more to it than that. So I pick out this yellow, beautiful fabric, silky fabric, kind of like this scarf, right? About the same color, maybe like the butter yellow part. Beautiful to make a romper out of. You know, I design rompers. You'll get to see those when I open the store. Rompers are one size fits all. They're very cool. They're so comfortable, nevertheless. So I notice, pack up my bag. She has her materials because she's copying what I get and whatever else she has on the floor. So the brother's picking up my stuff. He's folding my stuff up. Take my things, I leave, and I get home. I don't check my bag right away because generally when I pick up fabrics, I already have my designs in mind, but I'm saving the fabrics for my seamstress. When she's available, she comes and then I just give the bag to her. So now she's supposed to come the following day, and I start going through the fabrics, and I feel this yellow fabric, and it is a horrible polyester knit, y'all. You know the knit like they wore back in the 60s? You know I was hot. This girl stole my material. Yeah, she stole my material. She swapped out her bullshit material she had and took my material. So I go back to the fabric shop about a week later and I let the owner know. And I don't know if y'all remember, but this is a sister called Fatu. And she is in right before you get to Sarakunda. Oh, I want to say the name, but I don't recall. In Chipagasi. I'll have to put it in the description. Nevertheless, I call Fatu. I'm like, listen, my fabric is, if someone stole my fabric, your little friend that was sitting on the floor that kept touching my stuff, she swapped out the fabric. So she was very apologetic. She was like, come back, pick out something similar, and just take what you need. So I went back, and of course, there was no more of the color that I wanted. So I ended up just getting white, right? But it's stuff like that. You see somebody eyeing your stuff, taking your stuff, copying what you do, be careful because there's more to it. Okay. All right. So the other thing was I went to get a watermelon. So the watermelon, when you pull up, they're right on the side of the road. So my driver is between me and the watermelon man, right? So the man comes to, he's kind of in the back talking to some people. The driver calls him over and says, give us one for 75 dalasi. So the man starts looking for a watermelon. So this other man comes, he jumps out of a car. He just comes and starts demanding that the man wait on him. So the man is picking out our watermelon. Do you know, as the man is walking to the car with our watermelon, the other man snatches it out his hand and gives him the money? Get ready. I'm telling you, this is the kind of stuff people do. So we were just like, do you believe this? All these damn watermelons out here. He know the man is waiting on us, but he ain't waiting. Yes, he did. He snatched the watermelon, kept it moving. And it's not the first time that happened. We pulled up to the watermelon guy once again. He gets up to assist us. He was cutting watermelon at the table for some people because they cut watermelon out here and sell slices to the kids coming from the soccer park and stuff like that. I don't really mess with that because you know the fly situation. Sometimes I don't want no flies on my watermelon because you know you can mix them up for a watermelon seed and get a little surprise. So I don't do the flies on the watermelon thing. Nevertheless, he's looking for the watermelon. Now this lady's standing there talking to him, ordering her little slice of watermelon. Soon as she see us roll up and ask for a watermelon for 75 Jalasi, all of a sudden she wants one for 75 Jalasi. He put our watermelon on the counter while he was waiting on her. She takes the watermelon he put up for us, and we just like, okay, so maybe we need to get out the car, but sometimes you can't get out the car because of where they're located. When you pull up, the watermelons are right there, so it's just easier for him to pick out one. Also, I like to trust the vendor's judgment when they give me a watermelon. So let me show you what a 75 Dalasi watermelon looks like. So this is the size, right? It's about the size of a basketball, if not bigger. It's definitely bigger than my head. I don't know if that's good or bad, but this is the size of a 75 Dalasi watermelon. Okay. So yeah, it's a nice size, right? Um, so we trust him to pick it out because you know he'll do the sounding, what does it sound like? They shake it, all that good stuff. So I like when the vendors do it. So yeah, she took our watermelon. So that was the second scenario. People will take your stuff when you're the one there looking for the bargain. It's almost like they don't think of it until you come, or they see what you're doing and they want to be a part of that. I don't know if that's flattering or not. That's the second scenario. Okay, third scenario, and I think I mentioned this before. When you go to buy fabric, this is another fabric scenario. Make sure you count the yards of fabric before you leave the store, because you might ask for 6 yards and they give you your fabric and you go to leave. When you get home, you realize they only gave you 5. And I only caught on to that from my seamstress. Every time we go buy fabric, she tells them how much she wants. She picks out what she wants. They take the fabric from her, they cut it. She always double checks it before we leave the store to make sure they're not giving you less fabric, because they will give you like 4 or 5 yards if you're not paying attention instead of the 6 that you actually paid for. Okay, so I'm done with the fabric scenarios. Another scenario. I think I told you guys we went shopping one time and we went to get some bananas. I was with my neighbor, and the woman got mad because she broke a banana off the bunch from my neighbor, and my neighbor was like, I don't want all these bananas because lady was charging too much for them. And she started flipping out about she had broken it off the bunch and she needed to pay for it, all of this. So they will do stuff like that. They will do things on their own and then expect you to pay for it. I also talked about going into a store and dropping something, or getting something that's stale and knowing that you're not getting your money back and you will be expected to pay for that thing that you broke, right? It's not like in the States where you drop something, you tell the owner, listen, I dropped some juice or the milk fell or whatever, and they just let it go. No, you're going to pay for that milk. You're going to pay for that spilled item. And mostly because it's more individualized, right? People are paying out of their pockets, so they expect you to pay for it. They'll even try to get you to pay for things that are already yours that they broke. So be careful of that as well, right? Um, Another scenario, fish. I don't know if I told y'all about the fish situation. So you go to buy fish and you realize one lady's selling you the fish, another lady goes to clean the fish. The lady cleaning the fish said to me one time when she got to the very last one that the fish was bad. It was so soft that it couldn't be cleaned. So we lucked up because she told us. She went and took it to the woman and got another one, and they cleaned it, and the lady apologized. But sometimes they do that and they won't. They do it intentionally. They'll give you something bad and figure you won't notice, or they will change the fish. You went and got the big ones, and then you notice when you get home, it's a bunch of little ones in the bag. Me, when I go buy fish, even though I'm not big on like eating the head, eating the really the head, because I'll mess around with the tail a little bit, but the head, I'm not. I don't want to see the eyes looking up at me and my soup and all that kind of stuff. I'm just not with it. But I do take all of my fish. I do let them clean it out and take the guts, and I see them put it in a bucket. They probably cook it. They probably make meatball, fish balls out of it. I don't really care because I don't eat that part. To me, that's the waste. So they clean that part out. But they will keep the head and the tail if you don't tell them. I take all of my fish because I usually take the fish head and I would use it when I make plasas or when I want to make like a fish tea if I'm not feeling well. I always keep that kind of part in my freezer so I could take it out and just boil it and eat from the broth, right? So just know like you need to tell them that you want all the parts. Buying cheese and stuff is a little pricey, so y'all want to watch that. There's one of my favorite cheeses I get from like one of the grocery stores here that's a little pricey. It's more of an Americanized grocery store, and you're gonna pay for it. At least 500 or 600 Delasi, which is kind of pricey for like a slice, because they don't really slice. You know how we use the thin slices of deli meat and cheese? You don't see that. You will see like a block. You'll get like a piece like this or a piece like that. They'll say 2 fingers, 1 finger. That's the same way they cut the fish. 1 finger, like as far as the thickness, or 2 fingers, how they cut it, and they will slice it, and then they go through and chop through the bone and give you the steaks that you want. Um, Eat a lot of fish here, but I got to stop frying because I call myself pan frying it, just putting a little oil, but it's still too much oil. Like I need to just get to baking and grilling. Okay, so with the fish, if you like your fish a certain way, you need to be specific. You tell them that you want it cut into steaks or that you want it filleted. And their kingfish looks a little different than the kingfish we have in the States. Theirs is more like light gray, where ours is more black. Um, it's not, you know how the meat look gray when you get kingfish, and then when you cook it, it turns white? Strange, I don't know. The kingfish here doesn't look like that. It's white, right? It's very, yeah, you cook it and the meat is very white and it's not as thick as the kingfish we get in the States. A little different. Um, Angelfish is the really flat one. It's flat and it's kind of like circular shaped and it has a little tail in the end. It's really good. It tastes good grilled, but you can get that cut into steaks. They will cut that into steaks for you. Um, Red snapper, plenty of red snapper. Tastes a little different, not as fluffy or meaty as the one in the States. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but they do have red snapper here. Barracuda is the fish. I'm barracuda out. I've eaten so much of it. I love it because you can just do everything with it. I do like barracuda. It's very good. Um, Trying to think of what else. They have ladyfish, which I really don't remember eating. I think it has a lot of bones. I stay away from fish with a lot of bones. Butterfish is amazing, really good. It's like a cod and a whiting mixed together is the taste of it. But the fish guys are pretty good. They're very reasonable. Oh, the other thing, when you go shopping for fruits and when you go shopping for fish, what they will do is they have it on a table, right? And you will see like 5 oranges put together, just stacked on top of each other neatly. The fish, you will see the fish in like a stack together. So when they tell you 500 or 200, they're telling you that all the fish in that stack is 200. So for 200 Delasi, you can get 5 pieces of fish about this big, if not bigger. Yeah, so I didn't know that, and I used to go and be picking up the ones that I wanted, and they just would kind of look at me and smile, and they say, "Sister, no, this is to," and they show me, and then I apologize. They just kind of laugh, but very understanding. So just be aware of those little things when you go to the market. Certain things I'm a little leery about buying at the market, like hibiscus, sorrel, wanjo, same name for the same item. We know it is sorrel. It's sold like in a big bag, right? One of the big white bags. And so, sometimes it be flies. And I'm kind of used to the flies at this point. So if I know I'm going to take something home and wash it anyway, I don't really stress it like that. But I will not, I'm not with buying my smoked fish out in the market like that. I don't like my stuff like that open because I feel like when it sits, it can draw maggots, especially if the flies is around it. And yeah, I can't do the smoked fish and stuff in the market. I will buy fresh fish and cook it down and do what I need to do with it. Um, and use like a smoked salt or something like that. We talked about the situation when you're shopping to be leery of. Recently, a sister did a video about a sister from Gambia getting off of work late at night, taking a private taxi, the private taxi taking a different route home, and her saying, "What are you doing? This is not the way that I go home." And he's talking about he had to go to the bathroom. He pulls the taxi over, comes to her side of the car, pulls the seatbelt around her neck, and punches her in her face. And who knows what else he would have, this animal would have tried to do. But the sister fought the best she could and got away from him. Give thanks. She is safe. So I just want to give a shout out to that courageous sister, not just for her fighting back, but having the sensibility to watch what was happening and be prepared to get away from this man. Not, I don't even want to call him a man because I don't consider that a man. But stuff like that. You taking a private taxi late at night, you by yourself, be careful. Let your people know. Talk to somebody on the phone. Ask the person for maybe their taxi license, something like get more information and let people see who you going with, right? Get the license plate before you get in the car. Nobody can stop you from taking a picture. Be careful. So we want to get that word out. I shared this sister's video on Facebook as well as WhatsApp, and I'm telling you all now, you check out her video. I think the sister's called like fashion, food, and something in the Gambia, but I'll make sure I put the link. So be careful. Food. Somebody just kind of randomly offered me some food, and I was telling my friend, yeah, this person offered me some food, and he was like, He said, do not. He said, if you take in food from your, European friends, your friends from the West, okay, because I guess he assumes I know them. But he's like, do not take food from African people that you don't know. And I just was like, wow. But you know what? I've heard that before. Do not eat from everybody because everybody don't have good intentions. People be doing some wicked stuff. So be careful with that when you're ordering your food. Even like where you're ordering your food from. If you're consistent and you order from the same place all the time, be careful. Be careful. Everybody, you need to know your folks. You really do, and have a certain rapport with them. Um, Trying to think what else I wanted to tell you all. I didn't really have nothing like major happening. Oh, I know what it was about people being lackadaisical. Okay, so I had a situation where I was working with someone on a project, right? This is 2 or 3 projects, right? And I'm calling the person like, okay, I haven't heard from you. What's going on with the project? What are we doing? They like, oh, I ain't get started yet. Okay, it took you a week to tell me you didn't get started. And if I didn't call you to find out what I have known, they do stuff like that. Or you will leave somebody with instructions to get something done or make arrangements to get something done, only to find out it hasn't been done yet. They're waiting for a response. And it's like, well, why wouldn't you call me and tell me you're waiting for a response so I can move forward and do what I need to do to make sure that this situation is taken care of? So it's little things like that. Like people have a very different concept of space and time, right? Y'all see the fan came back on because the power went out. Power went out. I think it went out when I was talking to you all, but it came back on by itself and stuff just continues as usual. Um, Also, wanted to let you all know about a new channel that I'm going to be starting. It's going to be all about what I'm doing in my Gambian kitchen. I'll be sharing the recipes with you guys. I always put my recipes on Instagram and Facebook. So you'll get to see what I'm doing with the herbs and how I'm making herbs and all the things that I do in my kitchen, including some of my craft stuff as well. I think it'll be fun. We can have a few sessions together. So I will keep you all up to date about that. And that's all I have for today. I want to thank you all for joining me. It's always a pleasure. And please, if you have any questions, any information you want to share, maybe a scenario that I didn't touch on, you can put that in the description or respond to me and we can go from there. Blessings, family.